Welcome back to Matrix of Perception on Revolution Radio. Again, I'm Monique Lessan, your private eye host, and we are speaking live from the Center for Sacred Studies in Guerneville. And the website for that is centerforsacredstudies.org. I'm going to, let's see, I do want to give some information about this, first of all, before we get started with our next guest. Center for Sacred Studies actually is located in Guerneville. The phone number is 707-604-7362. They have given me the opportunity to come here and talk from the location. It's a fantastic place. They have workshops, classes, massage, Reiki, ancient healing modalities. Lots of speakers actually come here. They have crystals and altar gifts and books and art and jewelry. Please go to their website, centerforsacredstudies.org, or just call Valerie Hausman at 707-604-7362. Okay, so back to my guest for tonight. First of all, we have Denzal Santana. And a little bit about him, I would like to actually introduce him. Let me just tell you, I actually met him, I think it was this last weekend on Sunday, where he was here at this center with his son, Cruz. He's a musician. He's a fantastic musician, and he meditates and guides you through meditation. So, Denzal Santana, he's a poet, musician, visionary, sound healer, shaman, has studied with elders in the Peruvian Amazons for 15 years. He's been leading groups to the Peruvian Amazon for over 10 years. Denzal will be sharing with us about experiences and initiations he's gone through in the Amazon jungle and how that's influenced his spoken word poetry, opened him up to the importance of acknowledging the living earth and the spirit within, and much more. Denzal Santana lives in San Francisco Bay Area and offers integrative, that my accent really just did it right there. Integrative. I like that. Sacred healing with various healing modalities, individual and group, limpias, which is spiritual blessings. He has written a poetry book titled Straight to the Heart Word, Sound and Prayers, and has 3 spoken word music CDs recorded with his son, Cruz Santana. I want to welcome him to the show. Thank you so much for being with me. Denzal, I love your name, by the way.
Thank you, Monique, and greetings to you and to Valerie and to all the listeners. It's an honor to be here.
Denzal, let me give everybody your website. Actually, is thetaproductions.blogspot.com. It's actually a blog. Again, that's thetaproductions.blogspot.com. I'm kind of losing my voice now. Been speaking too much. Is that okay if I give your email also to the listeners?
Sure, it's fine. Totally fine.
It's thetawavepro@gmail.com. I'll repeat that. That's thetawavepro@gmail.com. We will repeat this during the show several times. Okay, I just wanted to let you know that I absolutely adored the show that you put on here, the prayers. I know I was supposed to go into meditation, but I was so mesmerized by the prayer that you were giving to everyone who showed up here that I was staring at you. And I know I was supposed to close my eyes and just kind of meditate, but it's always a challenge for me.
Yeah, thank you, Monique. Thank you. And it was an honor meeting you and Jazz and everyone. And truth of the matter, it's an honor for us, for myself and my son Cruz, to share our improvised poetry with our drum and the drum beat of our heart. But the purpose is to spread the message of unity, of peace and harmony. I feel it's important. That's our main motivation. Mm-hmm. And a lot of my influences have been from my studies in the Peruvian Amazon, and I've also studied other types of alternative types of healing. And so, time goes by so fast, and it's already been over 15 years as far as with the spiritual education, but that continues. Spiritual
Right.
education is constant.
Hmm.
Whether a person is 10 years old or 20 or 90, we're still learning something new every day.
That's right.
But
But
anyhow,
everybody has a point. I think that they actually become more aware, or let's say self-actualized or enlightened, awakened. What was your moment? How did you start on your journey?
well, my particular journey, it started from, I guess, sort of an illness. I was going through a depression. This was back in the late 90s. And I had heard about a retreat out in the Peruvian Amazon. This was in the year 1999. And was really intrigued of what the pamphlet said about the retreat in the Peruvian Amazon. And I went ahead and invested in going out there and experiencing, first of all, the energies of the Amazon. And little did I know that it was going to totally change my direction in life. At that time, I was working in the corporate sector. I think it was in my 9th year of my career at that time. And again, little did I know that it was going to change my whole direction in life.
Hmm.
And so it pretty much started from there as far as, really delving deep within our soul, our spirit, and tapping into the wisdom that's within us, within all of us.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you went to Peru, what was your impression? What did you think you were going to get out of this, and what did you actually end up getting? And what were some of your challenges?
Yeah. Well, going to Peru, I had it. I was stepping into the unknown. I was at the time, like I said, going through a severe depression, and so I was on that verge of giving up in life. Although at the time I was a single parent, my son was 3.5 years old at the time, and part of the depression was just the breakup between me and his mom. But
Hmm.
anyhow, I went on board and I went to the Peruvian Amazon, not knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it was very profound. It was very, very profound. I mean, it totally helped me to reconnect with my inner self, and partially it was through the ceremonies that were part of the gathering out in the Amazon. With the native rituals, with the native ceremonies, and it totally just opened up a whole other side of myself, and it helped to clear some of these emotions that were uh, heavy within me. Um, so yeah, and then actually, like when I left, well, some of the challenges were, just the mosquitoes and
Yeah.
um, and the humidity. And at the
Hmm.
time, a particular elder that I was working with, it was pretty rustic as far as his encampment. We just had like a little roof and had to wear long sleeves. There was really no mosquito protection. But again, it really humbleized the ego. It really humbleized and showed me what was important in life. And I was able to see that real clear. But yeah, there was some challenges, and it was simply just a different culture. It was like a culture
Right.
shock. Um,
Did you continuously stay in Peru for 15 years, or did you come
no,
back and go?
no, I had to come back. My family was here. No, so the first time I went to Peru, it was a 2-week excursion,
Uh-huh.
and then I would continue to go like twice a year, 2 weeks at a time, sometimes 3 weeks. And with the 5th year that I went out there, it started to really deepen. My spiritual practice started to deepen. I started to transition out of the corporate sector, and I was guided internally. I was guided by our unseen entourage that we all have. And And by 2005, I had let my corporate job go. But prior to letting that go, I was already certified in acupressure massage and hypnotherapy, Reiki, had studied acupuncture, herbs, and 2005, like I said, was the tipping point where I jumped off the cliff and my wings worked. I was able to fly, jumping off the cliff, or just letting go of the corporate world, corporate sector.
Right.
And then from then on, I was leading folks to the Amazon to work with these elders. And at the time, 2005, I had a website, and it served its purpose. I had it for about 2 years to advertise the elder I was working with. And I was able to connect with people from Europe, from Canada, from the U.S., from Chile, Spain, and connecting them. And I was translator for these groups, and translating, I was able to learn so much. And so yeah, it got real deep, 2005, and here we are.
So how did everything come to perspective? And when did you make that big shift?
Yeah. Well, the shift happened gradually. It wasn't like an overnight choice. It was gradually. So the first time I went to Peru was 15 years ago, and I came back and I felt like I was a totally changed person. And I was able to just connect with the intuition part, the intuitive part that we all have.
Right.
And I was just guided. I can't explain it. It was almost like I felt like when I returned from the jungle the first time I had gone, I wasn't alone anymore. Like I felt like there was this whole team of helpers that were guiding me, and I was naturally called to look into alternative medicines or therapies such as massage and hypnotherapy, and so I started taking those types of classes at the same time working in the corporate sector, and at the same time going to the Amazon, 2 weeks at a time. But after I had let go of the corporate sector, some of my stays in Peru were 2 months, 3 months. The longest I've been in Peru is 7 months, not in one shot, but 3 times. Let's see, 2 months each time in 1 year, 2.5 months.
And was the whole thing taking place in the jungles, or where was it taking place?
As far as my apprenticeship
Yes.
and study, yeah, it was in the jungle. So the city where we fly into is Iquitos in Peru, and then from Iquitos we take a speedboat. It's an hour and a half on the speedboat on the Amazon to this little village and called Tamchiacu, and in this little village is where my teacher resides. There's quite a few elders and elders. So yeah, it was in the jungle most of the times, and a lot of deep meditation, realizations. Some of the initiations that I've gone through are what they call plant diets.
Yeah.
And what a plant diet consists of is being isolated in the jungle, and the shaman administers a particular medicine from that region, and the plant meditation diet could be anywhere from 7 to 15 to 30 days in isolation, and each morning the elder will prepare a certain medicine from that region that are considered highly revered teachers, and they're evoked during the ceremony, during the prayers and ceremony. And the saying is, that a person develops a relationship with the spirit of the plant that they're dieting. And then some of the, some of the parts in dieting is being isolated in the jungle, and there's 2 meals a day, no salt, no sugar, no soaps, no lotions. Yeah, we bathe in the jungle stream. We wake up super early already with the sunrise. We start to communicate to the sun and to each direction. And it's pretty deep because a person's able to really go inside themselves, inside our
Right.
hearts. And there's no electricity, there's no television or radio or anything like that. So there's no
Right.
distractions. And so a person develops a really deep connection with nature, the spirits of
Absolutely.
nature. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And wow, you just answered
Yeah.
two of my questions right there. Yeah, that I mean, I was just wondering about this diet that you're talking
Mhm.
about. The would you call it shamanic plant diet?
Yeah, that's
It's
what they
very
call it
plant.
over there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, they call it a shamanic plant diet, and even the locals who know about these types of diets, plant diets, they consider a person doing these diets as learning to be a healer or studying to become a medico, which is like a doctor.
Right.
But
Hmm.
the teacher is the spirit of the plant that a person is connecting and dieting with. Um,
Are you
and
still doing that yourself here? Are you still going to the jungle and roughing it out per se?
yeah. I still go to the jungle. I average about twice a year. I
Hmm.
haven't. So the past since 2005, I've been connecting people to work with the elders. But 2 years ago, I purchased some land out there. Uh, Manifested some land in that little village that I've
In
been
Peru.
studying in Peru.
Hmm.
And and so lately, when I go out there, I'll maybe bring 3, 4 people at the most because I still need to build more structures, and we're reforesting a lot of the native medicines as
Right.
well as a lot of fruit trees, and we have a beautiful garden going on. People are asking me all the time because it was so common. I mean, it was part of my offering to connect people to the jungle. But the last uh, 2 years, I haven't really advertised on taking a group out there because we're still setting it up. I'm thinking by next year it'll be ready to bring folks. And usually when I bring folks out there, I'll bring some of these very wise elders to lead the retreat and the ceremonies and the plant diet and connect with our inner self and really align with the divine because it is time to shine. So
I actually wanted to ask you a little bit about the spoken, let me see, the spoken word, your poetry and music. Were you always a poet? And how did you come to all of a sudden develop this incredible art?
yeah, I wasn't. I was never a studied poet or into poetry. Although my younger brother,
Uh-huh.
who was inspiration to me, was a poet back in the late '80s, early '90s. But as far as for myself, it kind of came together kind of recent, actually. Kind of,
Hmm.
it's been pretty recent. I mean, I play the drum, as you saw this past Sunday, and I was never like brought up studying music. So the poetry and the drum playing, I mean, it's something that the universe is. I don't know. It's like working through us. It's working through me, and I recognize clearly that we're instruments. All of us are instruments, and when we're aware or when we're conscious, when we breathe consciously, to clear our mind, it's almost like we become those conduits or instruments to transmit a higher vibration, a
Hmm.
harmonious type of vibration, because everything is vibration. It's just like with the ceremonies that we do in the jungle. There's these prayers that are sung or chanted, and it's a certain vibration that raises, it accelerates the particles within our bodies, it connects us to some really high frequencies. Um, and so part of the spoken word is it's almost as if we're taking what takes place in ceremony with sacred medicines of the Peruvian Amazon. We're bringing that vibration out to the world. Okay.
Yeah.
So
What is this sacred medicine we're talking about? Is that made of the plants of the earth? I mean,
right.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah. So there's with a particular ceremony that's traditional to that region of Peru and Colombia and Ecuador, Brazil, is a plant, it's a natural plant called ayahuasca, and its partner is the chacruna, and together it creates this natural tonic. And it's wise to be discerning because it seems like it's becoming very new agey and
yeah,
very popular nowadays, and it is wise to be discerning as to who is facilitating these ceremonies because these ceremonies are not for everyone.
yeah,
And it's wise to know who prepares the medicine, okay? Because there's a lot of, new agey type of people that want to explore and have visions and see beautiful colors when it's not always the case.
no,
The medicine, these ceremonies are considered a type of meditation, but an advanced form of meditation.
right.
It's not recommended for people who have high blood pressure or who have heart illnesses. It's not recommended for those folks. So it's good to be very aware as to what this medicine consists of. But again,
What
go ahead.
what about the partner you were just talking about? The partner to ayahuasca. What is that?
Right. Yeah, the partner to ayahuasca is called chacruna. The ayahuasca is a vine, and the chacruna are these beautiful green leaves, and together it makes this medicine that goes thousands and thousands and thousands of years back. The medicine has been around before modern hospitals came into existence. It's just like with Native American traditions, with the Native American church, with their sacrament of peyote. It goes way back before this country was colonized. So these are ancient traditions that are important. They're important because it helps a person to stay aligned and just connected and know what our purpose is and know that this life is precious. Okay, so while we're here in these bodies, let's do the best that we can. Let's transmit as much love, as much harmony as we can, especially now. So these days, where we see all this just chaotic type of choices in government and just so much, it seems like we're going back into the Stone Age, or even corporate greed. Okay, so these medicines bring a person back to their center, and it helps a person remember that, look, this earth is precious. This is a precious, precious living earth, what I call blue and white pearl of Mama Earth. Okay, so when we're all in sync with the heartbeat of the earth, as they say, it's written in stone that the earth and us are one. So when a person balances themselves, a person makes a contribution to this planet, to creation, to humanity. And life is shorter than we think. So it's good to make the most that we can, and also, and on a deeper subject, our soul is eternal. These bodies are instruments for our soul. So even like with Tibetan traditions, where in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, when somebody passes over, there's all these ceremonies that take place for over 40 days. But our reason for being in these bodies is to build our soul force, is to build the momentum within our soul with these powerful instruments of our human bodies.
Right.
And so it's wise, I feel, to be able to connect with our inner self and feed our soul, so our soul can be nice and chubby and limber and nourished. Because it's even in Latin America and Mexico, they say they celebrate the Day of the Dead, which is November 1st. This is just part of our journey in this life. Okay, so what we do now is going to determine our tomorrow, so to speak.
Right.
We're constantly writing in the pages of our tomorrow, this moment. We're writing in the pages of our tomorrow, this moment. We're painting the pictures, those colorful pictures of our tomorrow right now. We're planting seeds on fertile ground of this day. We're planting seeds on fertile ground of our heart and of our mind, okay, connected with the divine. And so I kind of feel the responsibility to saturate the consciousness, because it's almost like there's a battle of the human consciousness. It's really clear if somebody turns on their television and there's never anything positive or uplifting. Okay, so because everything is vibration, we want to align with those frequencies and vibrations that uplift the person, because in the Messages of Water with Dr. Emoto, they can prove the beautiful geometrical shapes and forms in water. We're at least 70% water. Okay, and then they can prove the opposite too. So if a person tunes into the news daily, it's going to create murky stuff within the consciousness. Okay, so it's gonna. I feel like it's a responsibility and a duty for all of us to saturate the consciousness, to saturate inside. So
I was wondering, how do you deal with your everyday life when in this this 3-dimensional world, and stay away from all the negative energies, and you want to stay positive and not get caught up in the emotions that don't serve us? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, well, I think it's a daily thing. It's a daily thing, and a simple practice to incorporate is to be in nature, lean up against a tree, walk barefoot on the earth, visit the ocean or the beach or a lake, breathe often, daily, each day. Because we're like magnets. We're like magnets, and these negative energies are bouncing all over. So we have to find a way to cleanse ourselves. And when we're in nature, to take those deep, conscious breaths. Okay, to breathe in the stars. We can envision the stars and the galaxies and the sun and the moon in full bloom. We breathe in the sun and the moon and the galaxies and the stars, because that's who we really are. Before a person is male or female or Chinese or American, we're light. We are light, and we are more energy than we are solid. It's been proven by molecular biologists and all these experts, scientists, that we're more energy than we are solid. So on our skin, with the little holes on our skin, which are the pores, if we go inside those holes, there's more holes. And you go inside those holes, there's more holes. So we're more energy than anything. We're made up of the stars. We are made up of the stardust. The amino acids that are on the moon of Saturn are in our body. And so when we're able to connect and remember these things, we can send out some positive vibrations that are much needed in today's times. To visualize breathing in the sun, breathing in the moon, some of these ancient Hawaiian practices with the hunas. They call on bone breathing. So we're breathing in through our bones. Walking barefoot on the earth, walking barefoot on the sand. Breathe in the earth. Breathe in the energies of Mama Earth, of Father Sky, and to have a dialogue with the spirits of nature, to have a dialogue with the tree. These ancient redwoods.
Have a dialogue, right?
without moving our lips.
Yeah.
These ancient redwood trees that are hundreds and hundreds of years old, or sequoia trees, to communicate to the soul of this ancient tree that has been here long before us, and to ask the spirit of the tree or the spirit of the mountain to bless us with their strength, their longevity, with the beauty. And energetically, it shifts. It shifts the vibration within the central station, within our DNA, within our RNA. And it's wise to do these things because it keeps the person clear. But it's a daily thing, okay?
I really believe that. I think that the only way to actually sustain what you went to Peru and some other type of vibration that we bring into our lives by going to a retreat or whatever, in order to actually practice it every single day, you really do need to connect with Mother Earth somehow on daily basis. Otherwise, you fall right back into your, chaos of
Right. Yeah.
life.
If a person lives out in nature, out in the country, they have a little bit more of an advantage than a person that lives in the city.
Sure.
But just like a person brushes their teeth every day or washes their hands, or it's the same thing. Or, a person has to breathe, right, to be alive.
Yeah.
But it's along the same lines where it's along the same lines, to incorporate a short meditation, or incorporate just to check in with ourselves, to ask ourselves how are you doing, to ask ourselves, to check in. It's important, as opposed to just always looking external, outside, and avoiding the inside. Because inside of us, we have interior castles. We have kingdoms and queendoms. We have the sun and the moon. Our body is state of the art. We are state of the art technology. How high tech is a computer or a cell phone. If a simple glass of water can ruin it. Okay? So we are high tech. We are beautiful. We are divine. And through the spoken word, we're here to remind all of humankind. So, we give thanks. Yeah.
I do want to let everybody know, if you want to buy, and I got 2 of his CDs, Denzil CDs, just call 707-604-7362. You can actually buy it at the centerforsacredstudies.org, or you can actually go and order it at amazon.com or Kindle, and several other ways of getting it. Am I correct?
Yeah. It's on CD Baby, iTunes. As far as the CD, the book is on Kindle, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. The poetry book. It's one of those slim books that a person can carry with them, and they can open up to any page randomly. It's poems, so whatever message it is, whatever the message is for the day, the person can utilize the book like that.
Denzil, do you do individual cleansing or group cleansing, and how does it work? Does it really transform negative energies?
Yeah, it does. The spoken word is kind of along the same line. Okay, so what I've learned from working with these elders in the Amazon is they do what they call a limpia. A limpia is a Spanish word that means clean. But
ceremonies, right? It's called limpia ceremonies.
It's called a limpia. So in Latin America, it's very common. They know what a limpia is. A limpia is a Spanish word that means clean or cleanse. But what it is, it's a spiritual blessing received by an elder or by a wise person, and usually a person will chant some prayers or use some herbs or rub a lime or egg on a person's body to absorb the negative energy. And alongside the prayers, the ancient prayers, which create a certain vibration, it starts to cleanse the energy field of a person. Working with the elders, some of the things that were shown to work with the mind on a deep level. So when a person is praying for, during a cleansing, they're not only praying, but they're also visualizing the Milky Way frequency with its billions and billions of suns. And they're also going through the skin into the flesh, into the bone, and sending spirit guides, sending medicine spirits to cleanse the spinal column antenna. And along with the prayer, so it's almost like three things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
So this, what I just mentioned, is a class. So, because these are techniques that a person utilizes when they do a cleansing. And a lot of times the elder won't share what they exactly do.
Right.
When they're doing a limpia. But there's like 3-4 things taking place within that person's mind. And so it makes it effective, especially if the elder doing the cleansing or the healer doing the cleansing, if that person has built momentum over the years, because when you go see an elder or a healer in the jungle, or even here, that's all they do. So it's almost like a muscle, okay? When a person visualizes each day, it's exercising the visualization muscle. When a person incorporates meditation or prays daily, it becomes stronger. It becomes stronger with time.
Sure.
And so, I have been trained to do spiritual cleansings on folks, individual or in a group, and
right
but
here
also
in California or in Peru?
Both. Both. It's like everywhere I go. I mean, there's times where I'm traveling elsewhere, and a situation comes up where spirit has me utilize the things that I've learned.
Yes.
It could be somebody could have an epileptic attack on the street, and all of a sudden, a person that has the skills is there. Yeah. Whether they be a firefighter or a paramedic or Indian chief.
Yeah, sure.
It works like that, but I do. Besides the massage, I'm a massage therapist as well. I do spiritual cleansing,
right.
And then with the spoken word, it's a cleansing in itself too.
Just by listening to it. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about when you go to the jungle and you are on the diet that you were talking about. How do you fight the fear? How do you not become fearful? Do you get lonely? And how do you shift your consciousness from fear to trust?
Right. Yeah, for myself, a fear is a choice. It's a choice. So we choose. Okay, are we going to align with fear, or are we going to align with courage and trust and harmony? So it's a choice. And the reason I say it's a choice, I mean, I've been isolated in the jungle. 14 days, 21 days.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And there's been times where I hear somebody walking around my little bungalow, or somebody starts shaking my little bungalow, or somebody starts breathing in my ear, okay, but there's no physical person, okay, so I can either jump into fear. It's a choice. It's a choice. Yeah. There's a difference between being startled and being fearful, okay?
Sure.
So to be startled, a person can shake it off, okay? Fear is another thing, okay? So once a person attaches onto that emotion, it can snowball and get out of control.
Sure.
So to pay attention to the thoughts that are circulating within our mind. Often, it's just like Buddha nature. They say, Buddha nature is to be aware of each breath that comes in and out, and that's it could be challenging, but it's along the same lines. Okay, when a thought comes in, whether it be fear or worry, to catch it before it gets out of control, and to breathe and know that we are safe, we are protected, we are divine. And there's some other things with that as well too, like if a person has just a special mantra, a special sacred affirmation
Sure.
that they can chant or they can repeat to kind of shake off the fear and reconnect with their inner self. So
Right.
if everything's vibration, and then it's been proven that there are certain ancient names of God and Goddess in
Yeah.
many different cultures, it's been proven that these are high vibratory words, high vibratory, mantras and expressions. Okay, so having a little insight or knowing some of these chants helps a person to shake off any lower vibration, any lower emotion,
Mm-hmm.
and raise and accelerate the particles to raise the vibration. Being
Do you
isolated
feel
in the jungle.
lonely? Did you ever
Um,
get lonely, and how did you teach yourself to be patient? Because I
right.
think that's what it takes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when a person is isolated, a person does tend to feel at times, not always, wanting someone to talk to.
Yeah, of
For
course.
instance, like the times that I've been isolated, and then the elder comes, like he'll come and bring my meal twice a day, and he stays while I eat, and then he leaves,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm by myself the rest of the night until the next day. But I recall, like, when he would come with the food, I would eat slow so he wouldn't leave right away.
Right.
But yeah, there was
Were
times
you
where,
were you allowed to talk to him?
oh yeah, for sure. I would pick his brain. I'd have my journal next to me, ask him all the questions I wanted. But
Right.
yeah, it's a practice. It's a practice. The times that I've felt like the urge to talking to someone, I would start to just talk to my unseen friends and helpers, or being out in isolation, I've been able to write some nice poetry. I've
Sure.
been able to come up with some really delicious recipes, because our food is very limited.
Right.
A lot of insight, a lot of foresight, a lot of hindsight, when we delve into the heart space.
Denzel, if I asked you to give us maybe just 3 minutes, because we only have maybe less than 7 minutes or so left, but just give me 3 minutes of that poetry that you actually gave us an hour and a half. I could not believe it. Um, can you share about 3 minutes of poetry with everyone?
Okay. Yeah, I could share a little prayer just for
Yes,
you know,
love to.
it's
Yeah, thank you.
right. Yeah. So, um, thank you, kind spirit, highest saints, faith and wisdom, for blessing all our relations, blessing all our family members, friends, teachers, and their families, to Mother Earth and to Father Sky, to all souls of the universe. Bless us for universal peace, universal love, universal harmony, universal sisterhood, universal brotherhood, universal radiance, universal splendor, the upliftment of the human consciousness, and universal enlightenment. And then we say the thank you in threes. I thank you in the name of the Most High God and Goddess, that exactly as these prayers are thought, written, or said, so let them be done. I thank you in the name of the Most High God and Goddess, that exactly as these prayers are thought, written, or said, so let them be done. Triple blankets of excellent health placed around our bodies. Triple blankets of divine success, divine achievement, divine accomplishment placed around our bodies, blessing our 72 trillion nadis within our human bodies. I thank you in the name of the Most High God and Goddess, that exactly as these prayers are thought, written, or said, so let God and Goddess's will be done. Amen. All women, all children.
That, I love it. I love it. I have to say that your poetry, well, your prayer is almost poetic, and then when you play with drum and what was that hanger?
Yes.
What was that?
Yes.
Hanger drums. Oh,
It's
that
a,
sound.
yeah,
Yes,
the hang drum.
hang
Yeah,
drum.
no, I'm truly blessed to share some words that inspire, and along with the music, along with the drums.
Yes.
It's truly an honor. Like, I recognize myself and my son. We're here to spread the message. We're not the only one. We give thanks for all the many righteous sisters and brothers that share the same sun, that share the same moon, that share the same air, that are
Sure.
spreading this powerful vibration. Rarely, or the person's not going to see it on CNN.
Yeah.
It's almost like right here, we're living the vision as opposed to watching the television. The television is telling people what to vision
Yeah.
as opposed to living the vision. So we give thanks. Yeah.
Well, I only have a few minutes now, but I'm going to ask you my big question first, just in case we run out of time. Can you share with us some of the wisdom you've learned from the elders in the jungles, possibly at this time?
Um, yeah, there's so much. There's so
Yeah,
much, and
I know.
and I mean I
And I
mean
thought that maybe that's how we
the
can leave our listeners with, because it's so
yeah.
important.
Mhm. Well, yeah, just the basic. What I've really learned from the beginning is how precious this life is. This life is precious. We're supposed to be able to enjoy this paradise, this beautiful blue and white pearl. This life is truly precious, and that's one of the biggest things that I've learned
Yeah.
from studying with these elders, and how precious our human body is, and how much we could do with these human bodies. They say, with the elders, they say that the longest journey that we embark on is from our head to our heart. The hardest and longest journey is from our head to our heart, which is the
Interesting.
length of our wrist to our elbow.
Wow.
Okay,
Hmm.
so when we're able to be in that heart space, we could fly to the heights. And
Yeah.
so these are
How
some
do
of
you,
the things.
well, how do we, on a daily basis, can someone do to raise their vibration?
Yeah, and it's as simple as being in nature again. Okay, I mean, it's
Hmm.
been proven when somebody's out in nature, their energy field is more expansive.
Yeah.
If somebody sits in a cubicle in their office, the energy field concaves. It's been proven. So how can we raise the vibration? Let's enjoy nature.
Hmm.
Let's sit next to a tree. Let's lean up against a tree. Even being out in nature helps to balance the cells in our body from cell phone radiation. Again, it's
That's
been
for sure.
proven. Yeah.
Well,
So
I think that we all suffer. I say suffer because that's what it is. With inner dialogues, the inner chatter that happens to all of us. How do we get rid of this inner dialogue?
yeah. Well, it's always going to be there, so as long as we're in these bodies. But to be able to tame it, it requires to breathe, and consciously, because we're breathing all the time. But to take those conscious breaths to clear the mind. Again, when a person's emotionally upset or caught up in those mind chatter vibrations, there's a chemical within our body that's released, and
Yeah.
it's released out in the frontal lobe, and it creates a glue. It creates a very sticky glue in the frontal lobe. So it makes it harder for a person to think clear or to stop the inner chatter. But it takes a minimum, of 7 deep breaths. This is proven again. It takes a minimum of 7 deep breaths to clear the mind. Conscious breaths to clear the mind, to calm the inner chatter. Mm-hmm.
I have a question, Denzel. When I take even 3, I start getting dizzy. After 7, I think I may just pass out.
Yeah. Well, it's good to be maybe sitting and have some water next to you, because
Uh-huh.
it's just like when we breathe, there's more oxygen coming into the body. It's good to replenish with H2O.
Right.
When somebody receives a massage, there's a lot of energy moving through the body. The blood is circulating. It's important to replenish with water.
Hmm.
So combining those things, a person will be okay. If a person feels like lightheaded after fourth breath, it's okay. Maybe you've cleared it faster than the average person.
Hmm. Right.
So,
Well, what's coming up for you? Is anything coming up in your journey at this time?
yeah, I have a few things. This coming Monday, June 1st, I have a spoken word event in Aptos, California, close to Santa Cruz.
Okay.
It's Monday evening from, I believe, 6 to 9:30. That's June 1st. June 6th, I'm actually teaching a class, an all-day workshop on acupressure and some herbs, medicinal herbs and foods that we can utilize to keep the blood